Oh, hi, YouTube family. Welcome back. Thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome to On the Cusp with Daphne. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you. Thank you so much for your loyalty, for your comebacks, and for your views. If you're new to this channel, welcome to On the Cusp with Daphne. This is where inspiration meets evolution, a place where we evolve together on the journey of self discovery and growth, and a place where I look forward to being very much part of your success story. Having said all of that, may I ask you to consider making On the Cusp with Daphne your virtual home away from home by subscribing, by liking, sharing the content, as well as commenting below. Feel free to request any additional information you feel I may not have adequately covered or content I have not covered at all. I'll be more than happy to provide you with more information. In the previous video, I did promise you a short video that summarizes the requirements of you coming over to the UK, especially as a healthcare assistant or as a nurse. The first requirement that comes to mind and that appears to be a common thread in most of the job ads is experience. So this is very variable as it is role dependent. It varies from employer to employer. Some need very specific experience, whilst some are not very particular about what kind of experience they need. What do I mean? I'm referring to places such as the Nova Healthcare Group, for example, where some of their job ads are saying experience is not mandatory. However, it is desirable. It is not essential, it is desirable. And their ads proceed further to say if you do not have experience within the healthcare sector, it should not be a deal breaker. I'm just paraphrasing, it doesn't say it in so many words, but they do say that if you, for example, have experience in like retail, where you've worked with customers, or in any other industry where you've interacted with customers, that should be adequate. That should count as experience because it shows you've got people skills, you've interacted with people, you've had to communicate, you've had to solve difficult situations, presumably. So I think they see this as quite a good fit for the role. As well as it also continues to say they also want to know if you have looked after a sick relative or something to that effect, something that shows that you have that caring ability, the ability to look after somebody who is vulnerable and ensure their safety and their well-being. So that's how flexible they are, and hence I'm saying experience varies from employer to employer. So familiarize yourself with what each role states as experience, and don't hold yourself back as not having any experience if some of the employers out there are this flexible. IELTS, as we know, is another requirement that is needed for anyone to come over to the UK on this visa. So it would depend whether you're coming over as a nurse or as a healthcare assistant as to which one you're going to take. If you're coming over as a doctor, as a nurse, as an optician, you will need to undertake the academic level. If you're coming over on this new visa of the healthcare assistants, you will undertake the UK visa one. So they are graded differently, and the overall pass mark, it's called banding. The bands are different. So this was my IELTS from 2017. And this is what it looks like. It tells you what it is at the top. It's got your details, it's got your photo. And at the bottom, this is where the scoring happens, where you are scored on the writing ability, the reading ability, speaking and listening. And then you get an overall score as to what you scored. And then at the back of the certificate itself are the different bands from band 0 to band 9. And it tells you the level of band and what that person is assumed to be able to do. If they say you're a band 9 or you're band 5, are you a modest speaker of English or are you a fluent speaker of the language? So they've got a system of grading it. And I believe for healthcare assistants, the grading will be around 4 to 4.5. Somewhere thereabout. I will verify this information. So yes, that is basically what IELTS is all about. My suggestion for this purpose is if you're going to be looking for a job or wanting to come over to the UK, Because once you have a certificate of sponsorship, the UK visa process itself is very fast, and they aim to have a turnaround time of around 3 weeks. So I cannot imagine the stress it would, or the anxiety it would bring for me, put me under if I had 3 weeks to pass IELTS. I feel like I wouldn't be able to concentrate properly. So what do I mean? I just mean that perhaps consider starting your English exam now, before you even get a job offer. It's just one of those things you could get ready and just do it leisurely. Do your practice, go through as many question papers as you can, leisurely without any stress. Because I feel like once you know there is a job offer waiting for you and the only thing holding you back is this, you can go into it. Whilst it can be a great motivational factor, it can also deter you from giving it your best just because you want it so badly now. So I suggest you do it leisurely when you have no pressure. And if I'm not mistaken, it is valid for 2 years. So it's something that's valid for quite some time. We did say this was going to be a quick one, bullet form that does not detail too many things. The next thing you need is a police clearance certificate from your country of origin. If you've lived in any other country for more than 12 months, you will need a certificate of police clearance from that country as well. I will not waste any more time on it, as it is exactly what it says it is, a police clearance certificate. Because you will be coming into the country for a period of more than 6 months, you will be required to undertake a tuberculosis test, a TB test. The UK government tends to have centers in many countries where this is conducted, and they accept the results only from those centers. My one in South Africa was based in Pretoria, but it's quite easy to find. You just go on the internet and just on the UK government website and look for the tuberculosis approved test centers. So you go to the center. This is what the TB certificate looks like, and it says what it is at the top. It also has your image. It also says your name, your details, and it details what test you had done, whether you had an x-ray, whether you had a sputum done. And there's a part where you sign and there's a part where they sign. So that's all there is to it. Mine was an x-ray. I didn't need to do a sputum. I think it varies from place to place. Or perhaps things have changed. They need both now. I'm not sure. You'll find out when you inquire at your test center. But that is what it is. I can attach the cost and things if you need me to do that. Just let me know in the description box. A minimum of 2 references is something that can be required of you to provide, just so the information you're providing can be verified, the experience you say you have can be verified, and that you are who you say you are. So think of those references right now, and just to tie it in with an issue of experience we spoke about earlier. I feel like if you feel like your experience could do with a boost, this is the part where you could even find a care home or a residential care home in your own home country and opt and volunteer and offer them your services, your time. I'm sure they'll gladly accept something like that, even if it's just 8 hours or 4 hours or twice a week, or perhaps ask them what their busiest days or busiest times are and show up during those times. I imagine a lot of places would appreciate that kind of assistance and relief, but it's also important to be perhaps honest from the outright and clear that this is what you intend to do and just wanting to bolster your experience. And I think from this placement, it might be quite easy to find a recent reference, not just even any reference, but a recent reference. You might be lucky, or 2. Sometimes they might ask you for 3, but generally 2 is the standard. So yeah, that's something to think about for those references. If you're based in South Africa, you probably do, or you don't. I'm not sure. Know that we have a whole lot of these. Just Google them up, just look them up. And it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. Don't try to find one which is furthest away because it's big, or just find your local one. Possibly one where you can walk to work and come back. It shouldn't have to be an added expense or a significant one, if any. We are heading to the end of the video. May I ask for your support for the channel by clicking like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed, I'm wondering what you're waiting for. Please go right ahead and subscribe. It will help the algorithms. It will help somebody we know by sharing it with somebody else that has not been on the channel. Thank you in advance for doing so. And if you have already subscribed, I cannot thank you enough. Stay tuned as we evolve together on the call. So let's talk about those jobs that require a driving license. Is it the end of the world if you don't have this driving license? Definitely no. There are so many other vacancies that do not require that. I think it's listed for those jobs where you're expected to drive from house to house, going to provide care for people who are still living in their own homes but require some kind of support. So you could be that person that's expected to go perhaps to a particular home and work there for 3-4 hours to provide that person with support and then drive to the next town further on. So do not limit yourself by saying you don't have a driver's license. Just apply anyway. There will be a suitable position for you. And even if you have, don't put yourself under pressure of arriving in a new country and trying to do everything at once. Adapting, working, driving. So I feel like it can be a bit too much and overwhelming, especially if there is work attached to it. And it is quite easy. I cannot overemphasize to have points on your license, and it's quite easy to lose it. So yeah, those 12 points are quite easy to get. So yeah, I'd say take it easy even if you have a license. Arrive in the country, find how systems work, and then consider such jobs once you've learned the rules of the road. Parking is quite intense sometimes. It can be. So yes, my advice is stay put. Don't say no to such jobs if that's the only job you can get, but ideally try and stay clear. You'll probably take them on once you arrive in the country. And to be fair, I almost feel like an imposter of some sort for saying what I've just said, because I'm one of those people who arrived in the country and within 2 to 3 months of arriving, I bought a car. So for me to say that, one could look at me and say, that's rich coming from you. However, I did that because one, cars are cheap, or at least they used to be cheap back then. This is back in 2004 when I came into the UK for the first time. Cars were really cheap. I'm not sure I can say the same today, to be honest, having come back for the second time in 2017. So yeah, the car was cheap and it was just for my convenience. I say that what I said to you about the job and the car, just because there is that pressure. You've got the time constraints of work, you've got the time limits to be at particular places at particular times, so in a place that you don't know. Whereas if you come in a country and you just buy a car for yourself, you're learning leisurely. It's not like you're going to work or you're rushing. You could be going to do your shopping, you could be going to visit a friend. This is for your convenience. It is not a work requirement. I think I am making a clear distinction between the two as to how they can be different in terms of stress. The other one was very leisurely. I had all the time, like many other people who do it. I had all the time to just learn about the rules of the road, even though it was just like not long since arriving in the country. Many people do it all the time, but I guess if it doesn't attach work conditions to it, it's quite doable. I just wanted to get that out of the way. And lastly, if somebody could just tell me how did we get this far without talking about the very thing that's supposed to be at the top? And here we are talking about it right at the end. Perhaps that's deliberate, really, to emphasize its importance. What am I talking about? I'm talking about your passport. Your passport. It's a very basic place where you can start by making sure you have a valid passport. If you don't have one, please go and get one. It will set you back about 400 rands if you are in South Africa. And the last time I checked, the system was so efficient. I got mine in 2 days the last time I applied. So please just get a passport. It's almost like talking about this whole thing and not touching on the importance of a passport is like that person that keeps hoping to win the lottery, but they didn't even buy a ticket. They don't even have a ticket, but they keep checking numbers every night to see if they've won, if that makes sense. So yes, don't be that guy, don't be that girl. Just go out there, get your passport. Everything starts with a passport. Even your IELTS exam will require for you to have a passport. So save yourself some time. Whatever is within your control, that whatever you can control, get started and do not waste time. As we keep on emphasizing, this opportunity is going to be short-lived. It's a window of opportunity. The government is looking to implement it for 12 months only. They are hoping to recruit 30,000 candidates from overseas over the 12-month period with effect from the 15th of February 2022. So we're counting days. So yes, it sounds like it's very short-lived. And remember, the message is out there. Everyone, I hate to say everyone, but a lot of people are aware of this information and they are making use of it. So act swift. Do not be taken advantage of, as I always say. Be on the lookout for scammers. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Consider subscribing, sharing, liking. Feel free to comment below as you make On the Cusp with Daphne your virtual home away from home. Thank you for tuning in. See you on the next one, where I will be talking about a very interesting topic. Just stay tuned and see what the topic is. It will be another short video as well.